What's going on, guys? Shark from Gaming Encased here. We're going to talk about some things today on Forza Motorsport 7. We're going to talk about how to build and tune a drag car. Now keep in mind, this is not a super in-depth, crazy tuning tutorial. I'm just going to teach you the basics and get you guys on the road so you can get some good times in the quarter. So, only thing I will not be going into is individual gear ratios. That's a very long video if I do that, so let's not today. But if you guys like it, hit the like button and I'll go ahead and make a video for that. But for today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to use the Dodge Challenger 2012 SRT8. Got the SRT outfit on, so that fits pretty well. But let's go ahead and for the build, engine preference is always what you like. I went with the Hellcat motor. A lot of people run the 5.9 on this. Makes about 1,000 horsepower NA, so that's a good setup. I like the Hellcat motor. It makes a little bit more power, but it does weigh a lot more. So, you know, you can take that as you will. I like the Hellcat motor, and I like the way it sounds. So I went with the Hellcat motor. Haven't upgraded it all the way yet. So always upgrade your motor all the way, except for a few minor things you're going to want to pay attention to. Specifically, flywheel and oil and cooling and intercooler for boosted cars, that is. But other than that, always upgrade everything on engine. So once we get to oil or intercooler, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And a lot of guys on the forums and in the community will tell you don't do intercooler or oil and cooling. Yeah, sure, it upgrades your power quite a bit, but the power to weight ratio, I mean, it just isn't there. So I don't do intercooler, I don't do oil and cooling. Obviously you want the upgraded restrictor plate, or the stock restrictor plate, not the, you don't want a homologation restrictor plate. But the flywheel, so this is a very hit or miss topic on a lot of people. Flywheel will essentially put the power to the ground quicker. You can take that as you will. I don't use it because on drag cars you don't want a lot of wheel spin. So I keep it stock, and as you see, you really only save about 7 pounds there. So I don't mess with it. You can try it. You know, the thing with the drag setup is you got to do what you like and what you can drive the car with. So, you know, that's kind of the key. Always upgrade your suspension so you can do it. Don't run drift suspension. That's a new update. Some of you guys haven't seen it yet, but drift suspension is just a very big pain when you're drag racing. So I always run race. Obviously anti-roll bars. Then the next thing we want to talk about is roll cages. A lot of people run them on some cars for better traction. I don't think the weight's necessary. Especially on, I mean, some people say the higher horsepower cars that are rear wheel drive, you need them. I don't see it. Obviously buy your trans and buy a diff, because some people don't like to run aftermarket diffs. They don't see any points come up, so they're like, oh, I don't need that. Well, do it, just trust me. Front tire width, you always want bone stock if you're a rear wheel drive drag car. Rear tire is obviously the biggest you can get. This car, it's 345s. Buy some wheels if they lighten up at all. I went with these because they kind of remind me of some SRT style wheels. So, and then don't buy any aero. Even if your car has like aftermarket aero, but it's not like the Forza wing. Don't do it because it still adds weight essentially. Even one problem with Forza is even the wings that it just removes the rear wing, but it doesn't add anything. It still adds weight in the game, so don't even buy those. It's not worth it. And then we'll go on to tuning. We'll kind of see what we can tune here. This car might already be tuned. I don't remember. I already owned this car, so. Yep, so one thing I do that a lot of guys will tell you, a lot of guys run like 20 pounds PS pressure. I go all the way down to 15. That's subjective. You know, you can do with that as you will. But I run all the way low, especially on higher horsepower cars. Camber, positive 5 degrees up front. What that does is it's the minimal amount of tire touching the ground up front as possible, and that's less drag essentially on the front wheels. Then 0 all the way around, and 7 degrees of caster on the front. So After that, I don't mess with anti-roll bars. I've never seen a difference in any drag races of anti-roll bars being stiffer or softer. It doesn't make sense. So, all right, now rear wheel drives. This is very important. You want for springs all the way soft in the front, and these take forever, and all the way stiff in the rear. And then we'll come back to ride height because I'll explain a little bit in a minute on that. And then same thing for rebound stiffness, all the way soft in the front, all the way stiff in the rear. And then for bump stiffness, I do it the exact opposite. Some people will do soft in the front, stiff in the rear, but I find it's much faster to do it this way. So as you see there, all the way left, all the way right, all the way left, all the way right, all the way right, all the way left. That's really all it is. And you'll notice, especially on the higher horsepower cars that really peak on traction, you may lift the front tires up, especially if it's a mid-engine car. One of my fastest cars I have is the McLaren 650S. And I can beat a lot of cars in that car with the same tune I'm running right here. And it'll lift the front wheels up, but it moves. So back to ride height. A lot of guys like to run the drag stance, which is all the way low in the front, all the way high in the rear. I run all the way up on both because if you do lift those front wheels up and you come down and you're lowered all the way, you're going to scrape and it'll slow you down. So I run max all the way around. And then that's about it on that. Brakes doesn't matter, aero we don't have. And then I lock the rear diff, so that puts it to 100. What that does essentially is when you start spinning tires under acceleration, it tries to keep them even, so that'll keep you straighter. That's subjective. A lot of guys will say don't even tune the diff, but I do. I mean, it's not going to hurt anything if you don't tune it, except for your straight line capabilities, but you know, that's that. So that's our tune. Oh yeah, gearing. For this video, I'm just going to mess with final drive. Right here I have it at about 3.1, so I mean 235 is a little high, and you can always tune this. The best way to do this is to go into a quarter-mile strip and just keep doing it, and see what you like. So we'll leave it what it was at, 3.1. We'll apply that setup, and then now that experimental drag is out, we can go test it there. So we'll go to free play, go to experimental drag. And I run manual with clutch with the stock button setup. So some people will do some other tricks, try to get out of the hole faster. I don't mess with that. I'm just showing you a base tune for however you play, it'll work essentially. So we'll show you my assist just to be fair here. ABS on, normal steering, no traction, no stability, manual with clutch. Cosmetic damage. I do have rewind on, not that it matters on this, but I also turn friction assist off because if I do play on the test track, and you can test this isn't the video for another day, but if you run friction assist on test track, you'll spin more than if you don't have it. Most of the cars I have, I can rev up all the way on test track and no spin without friction assist, whereas it's the other way around with friction assist. So that's just something for you guys to know, a little tip. That's about it. So we're on the experimental drag, so we're gonna see what we can do. Launching I can go over a little bit, but you know, a launch in a car in Forza is kind of what works for the car, you know. One thing about experimental drag is you can use the two-step glitch, or I don't think it's a glitch anymore, they put it in the gameplay, but you hold gas and brake, ease on the gas and it'll hold it exactly there. This car is quite the spinner, so we'll ignore that happen. Terrible run. I was too busy looking at the Elgato game capture instead of the screen, so I apologize on that one. Take me trapped to 153. Ran a 10 or a 10.8. It's terrible. I'm sure we can get this car in the 9s if I actually launch it like I mean it. So I'm just gonna launch regular this time. Let's go again, and we'll see what we can run. I should have done a before and after comparison. If you guys like the video, let me know. Something better with some before and after comparisons or other people or something like that. See, so we need to shorten or lengthen the gears a little bit. So I went into 5th on that and I ran a 10. If I would have held 4th a little bit longer, that would have been fine. But yeah, so like I said, gearing and tuning in this game in general is very subjective. You know, you got to find what's right for your car and your driving style. You know, a lot of guys on videos on YouTube will tell you, you know, you tune it this way, tune it that way, tune it this way. I give you a bass tune to help you out, and that's all I can do, right? So from there, you have to take that and run with it, because that's the best thing you can do. Is the way you learn is you work on this game from other people and you make it your own, right? Like that was quite the reaction time there. Left a little soft though. See, there we go. 9.5. Look at that. That's the tune. I just changed gear ratio. I also had a pretty solid reaction time of a .017, so that's pretty solid. But you know, that's really all it is you just got to find what's right for you, and find a good mix. You know, you can take my tune and work with it. Like I said, this is a rear-wheel drive tune, so it's obviously not the same for front-wheel drive. I've never tuned a front-wheel drive car in this game because I don't think the lobbies pick up as well, so that's that, you know. If you guys want another video, maybe an all-wheel drive tune video, you know, like, subscribe, share it with your friends, comment, you know, let us know. Say, hey, you know, we'd like an all-wheel drive video. I'd love to do that. So, like I said, Shark from Gaming Encased. Like, subscribe, share the video, comment, and we'll catch you on the next one, guys. Peace.